Hi, welcome back to the program. Well, we have Bob Latham. He's Executive VP with Associated Pennsylvania Constructors. He's our go-to guy on transportation issues. All right, Bob, let's pick up for our audience. I want you to start with the overall situation with doing this. I hate the word infrastructure. Nobody knows what that means. Can I say transportation?
Yeah, building roads, transit,
there you go. Roads, bridges. We ride on them and we need them and we use them, right?
That's how we get around.
Okay, brother, go ahead. Start with, give us the overall picture as we speak right now.
Well, Congress is sort of stagnant right now, and of course we've all went through yesterday's or the recent election a week ago, and so one thing that really happened in Washington that most people aren't aware of in Pennsylvania is James Overstar, who was the chairman of the House committee, lost in Minnesota, which means with the reorganization of the House, the leadership in transportation is in big flux in Washington. So anything that's going to happen as far as transportation funding is going to have to happen here in Pennsylvania. The ball game is right here in Harrisburg.
No help from the feds?
I don't see anything happening from the feds for quite some time. And the longer it goes, the more it can get pushed off into the election.
Tell us about the problem here. Give us the dimensions of it.
We have a huge problem, and we always focus on PennDOT's, bridges that are falling down and all this kind of, not falling down, but in bad shape and need to be repaired. But our local governments handle about 77,000 miles of road in the Commonwealth, and they pay for that out of property taxes and local taxes. They need help too. Our transit systems, not just in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, but across the state, need capital money as well. So basically, it's the same thing as we have not taken care of the roof of the house. We need to fix the roof, and we need to get on it right away. We do not have the luxury of waiting like some states have done.
Okay, so we have this huge number of roads, 7,000 miles of them in some need of repair. Do I got that number right, or give me the right number?
That's a ballpark number. But really what we have is we have a large system in Pennsylvania. We have 40-some thousand miles of state road. We have 25,000 bridges. They're old. They need to be repaired. Yep. But the key that we keep forgetting in that is we have a future where there's going to be growth in traffic and growth in travel just by growth in population, and we need to accommodate that, and we don't have any plan to do that. We need to widen our interstates. We need to provide more rail.
Good point.
And we need to provide better public transportation in the urban areas.
And I like to relate this to the needs of a modern economy, because I think folks will understand that if we want to grow businesses and keep businesses here, we've got to make sure we have, I hate the word infrastructure, but a transportation network that accommodates that. And we've seen a lot of road work done, and sometimes we sit in the traffic and go, oh no, I got this delay, but I think most people, go ahead.
You're absolutely right. I mean, I looked at a survey recently of the office industrial park people, and they say, what are the key things that you look at for site location for businesses? Transportation facility, access to highways is number 3. It's much higher than even the tax structure. You know, you hear a lot of people say, well, we got to address the tax structure to create jobs. Companies locate because of their access to transportation. That's what will create jobs.
And we're asking local governments already strapped to pay not just for what we call their essential services, but also to deal with the road. 77,000 miles, did you say?
Yes, exactly. And that's another key point, is if we provide funding for locals for their infrastructure or their transportation, when somebody comes into a local community and says, I'd like to locate a factory here or a shopping center or something like that, right now what happens is the locals look at it and go, not only do we not have money to provide any infrastructure for you, we want you to fund these other projects down there that we don't have money for. So they drive them away as opposed to enticing them in.
All right, we're going to go to the state problem and how much money the state needs and what Bob Latham thinks the new governor ought to do about it following these words. Hi, we're back with Bob Latham. We're talking about roads, bridges, and mass transit, probably one of the 3 or 4 essential conditions that the new governor is going to have to address. All right, put a dollar figure on what you all think needs to go into roads, bridges, and mass transit to get our system to remotely close to where it should be.
in order to have a comprehensive solution, I guess is what we keep calling it, we got to get north of $2.5 billion. Now that's money for local governments. That's a significant boost for local governments,
right.
About $500 million a year. About $1 billion a year or more for PennDOT to upgrade its system, and then an equal amount of money for public transit infrastructure. The bridges that carry the trains, the SEPTA, for SEPTA, Port Authority in Pittsburgh,
right.
And also things like rural shared ride in the non-urban areas. People can be prisoners in their own homes if there's no rural shared ride transit program. So that's very important.
And
we have to look at alternative transportation like bicycling and things like that as well. So we've got a broad-based system that
and we didn't even get into the problem that could be created with the Marcellus Shale situation, where all of a sudden we're getting a lot more traffic on, and with vehicles that many of those roads were not.
Certainly anything that gets funded through this Marcellus Shale, either severance tax or other things there, or whether the industry does it themselves, they will have to rebuild those local roads. They're putting
so you don't
very
want
heavy
that problem added to the general problem. You would have
that would be on top of this.
Yeah,
absolutely, that would be on top of this. The Transportation Advisory Committee has identified a number of about $3.5 billion, but.
Wow.
Governor-elect Corbett has pledged to create a working group, not a study group, here in the interim, and to find a solution to this in the first 6 months of his administration. So we're very optimistic that he has this on his radar screen. This is going to be a top priority, and we're looking forward to seeing that working group formed and getting its act together. The Senate leadership the same way. They pledged to move something early on as well. This is a solution. The election, I think, showed that people want solutions. They threw the people that were, the throw out the bums mentality. I think that what the message was, people are sick of Congress and the state legislature that really didn't accomplish anything. They want to see solutions to problems. This is a problem that needs to be solved.
And so, I mean, are there any sort of solutions that you think are kind of so apparent that they'll be put on the table for consideration? Not suggesting they'll do that, but as an expert, that seem likely to be considered by the study group?
Well, there's a lot of talk about reforms, and certainly some reforms should be added to the process. But we can't sit around and wait for ourselves to study and see whether PennDOT's efficient or not. We know they're efficient. They got the stimulus money out. We're not Virginia. We can't sit around and study. We don't have a big-ticket project like a tunnel under the Hudson River to cancel, like Governor Christie, which was basically a symbolic measure. He hasn't done anything in New Jersey for transportation. We don't have those luxuries. We have several options. We can take the state police money, this $500 million that's now going into coming out of the motor license fund, put that in the general fund. Well, now you've heard in earlier shows about the problem with the general fund deficit, so you just added more to that deficit. So that's a kind of an issue. We have a funding mechanism in the oil company franchise tax that has not been adjusted for inflation since it was enacted in 1982. You make inflation adjustments, and that will drive more revenue. There are certain specific fees, user fees, that can be looked at as well. I mean, we can't efficiency our way out of this. We are going to have to look at some revenue measures.
So in the 30 seconds we have left, so your point is that there are potential solutions out there, that this is a huge problem that just simply has to be dealt with, or not only will the citizens suffer in their daily lives, but the economy as a whole will suffer.
Right. Well, and I'd like to make it even a more positive discussion here, and that is we will create jobs by doing this, not just in construction, but across the economy.
Good point to end. All right. As always, thanks for watching Pennsylvania Newsmakers, and stay well.